There is great utility in harnessing the true powers of the ego without being egocentric. In fact, I would say that it's paramount for you to really discern how the ego actually plays a role in your life for the positive. Because having an ego is actually a positive thing. It helps you with boundaries, it helps you stop yourself from overgiving, and it helps you discern what people are trying to just love to be around you and actually love you. And there's going to be a lot of people out here that will watch you and pretend like they don't. And they might even care about you. They might even, well, they might want to see you fail. They might want to see you fall. And these kinds of people are also going to be watching you. And they're going to, again, pretend like they're not. You have to be very careful with these types of people because there's nothing really wrong with admiration. You know, I don't really mind people admiring me out and about, but when it comes to the point in which they are scowling or mean mugging or whatnot, which I don't usually get too much of that anymore. I'm just not necessarily the most approachable person, but I'm not necessarily the most non-approachable person ever, because I don't necessarily think that I'm angry looking out and about. I don't have a scowl on my face. I don't mean mug. I'm just simply stoic. And I don't really smile too much out and about. It's not to say that I'm incapable of happiness, but I just don't really have a specific set of motives when I'm out and about. I don't really try to be anything. I just be. And I am the circumstance to my environment. I do not adapt to the circumstances within my environment as much as I possibly can. And I control what I can control and I let go of what I cannot control. And as of late, anybody that's been watching my videos for about the last week and a half or so, 2 weeks, has heard about the timeline theory that I'm expanding on and developing. And ever since this, and also with sun gazing, along with celibacy and everything else, the spiritual yield that I'm getting is just compounding. And it's amazing because I feel as though I'm making an investment in my spirit without really making a investment in my spirit. I don't know how else to describe it. And I've noticed that there are a lot of people, especially over the last week and a half, they're pretending not to notice me. And literally, I can feel them staring from my peripheral vision. And that's another thing with sun gazing. My peripheral vision has expounded. And when you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because the more light that you have coming into your eyes, which are connected to your brain, the more that you're going to be able to see what's around you, right? Your vision's not so narrow. And people who are dim in their light and the light that they get, I mean, their vision is very narrow more often than not. And so it's just very symbolic, I suppose, is the main point I want to make with that. But I can feel as though my vibration and my frequency as well is just going, and I don't really like to use those terms because they're very contorted, I suppose you could say. But that's going to be the best term that I can use for this, because it's very much so the case that we live in a very fascinating reality and fascinating world, and the timelines on which we're living to move into timelessness are just so cool. And it's cool to think about, and it's fantastic to ponder and to really allow yourself to be whisked away while also being a traveler. Like you're not ungrounded, you're still grounded. That's one thing that I really like about the timeline theory, is that you're still grounded. But people, whenever you start to really level up in life, people are going to notice, and they're going to act kind of strange sometimes, especially when they see that you're leveling up and maybe they're not moving as fast. And in my world, again, there's hardly been anyone that I've known for longer for 3 years that I have either not outgrown or they've taken advantage of me. They haven't taken advantage of me. Like, I've always outgrown people or they've taken advantage of me at some point or another. I've rarely had an experience where I've known people for more than 3 years and it's actually like a good maintenance of relationships. Like, we can still be chill and we can still understand each other. And a lot of the times, like, I just got hit up by some woman from college last week, which again, I think it's very interesting considering the timing of this, because it was almost like there was some kind of spiritual completion there with her reaching out. And I was just kind and cordial, but I didn't really try to do anything about it. And I think she could sense that. And I think it kind of irked her. And so it didn't really go anywhere. And I could tell, like, she was just checking in after a couple texts. She was just checking in she wanted to see if she like won or something. Why, like, these people are so weird. Like, it's almost as if their spirit, if they're trying to connect to you and they are feeling like they're connected to you, they will reach out to you. And when you're moving, oh my gosh, it's when you're moving off of their timeline and you're moving either to a new timeline or more into timelessness, that's where this happens. Yeah, it's exactly like that. Because, I mean, I'm sure you guys have noticed that people will reach out to you and they'll pretend like they're not noticing you're leveling up the way that you are. And, you know, they reach out to you because they just want to see how things are going and all that. Or if they could get something from you, it's because you're moving beyond a timeline in which they're no longer a part of. And it's almost as if the timeline that's moving through them is trying to attach itself to you. And so the timeline, they are captured by the timeline and they're trying to make you live through it still too. And you're thinking to yourself, no, I'm not going to live through that timeline. I'm going to move beyond. I'm going to go beyond this. I'm going to move beyond whatever it is that you think I'm supposed to be doing. I'm moving beyond that because there's something more to me. There's something more to me than whatever that was. And I don't really associate myself with whoever that was anymore anyway. And remember, you are under no way, shape, or form meant to be the person you were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, you're under no obligation to. Okay, you can grow. You can grow and you can live. You can live according to the truth and you can create. That's the whole essence. I mean, a lot of people get stuck in talking about the same things over and over again from the same perspective. The real truth that occurs is when you can talk about the same thing from a perspective of so many different things. And that's one of the reasons why I love this timeline theory, is because I can apply it to so many different ways, shapes, and forms of life. And it started out originally with my faith in Christ, and I realized that faith in Christ comes before faith and faithfulness after talking to somebody last week on a one-on-one session call. And I realized this and what this person was saying, and I was like, oh, that's what that is, right? That's what that means. And from there, it's like, well, that's why love has to come before discipline. That's why love has to come before discipline. And a lot of people, they don't want to see that. I mean, they want to will it into existence. And, you know, I've been rereading Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. And I genuinely think that he was one of the most misunderstood people, and he just didn't have the language to describe exactly, even though he was a phenomenal, like, I mean, he was a philologist for crying out loud, but he didn't quite have the language because he was just so alone. You know, he was alone. And being alone is a great trait, but sooner or later, if you don't have something to ground you or people to ground you, you might lose yourself. And it's not your fault really. And a lot of people will say that Nietzsche went insane because of his philosophy. Rereading Zarathustra, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that he probably went insane because everybody else around him didn't understand him. And he's like, well, what does a mind do? Imagine you live in a world where you feel as though you are the only one that knows this truth, and yet you can see it through time echoing out. But you in your own timeline, there's nobody around you, no way to communicate with anybody that understands truly what you're saying. Can you imagine what that will do to your mind? I mean, when I read Thus Spoke Zarathustra, just he was trying to describe the Ubermensch, the Superman. He was trying to make the Superman into a solution for ending timelines and into timelessness. I don't think it was narcissism or arrogance at all. I don't think it was his philosophy going crazy at all, now that I'm rereading it from a different perspective. And again, that's that different perspective. Because when you have certain knowledge, and I'm not saying that we should worship knowledge, but when you have certain knowledge, it's just simply a fact that you're going to be able to look at the facts of a situation a little bit more clearly. Okay, when you have more knowledge in certain things, it's going to make a little bit more sense. Like sometimes if you read the Bible, for example, or read people, I mean, look at the way people are so weird nowadays. You look at the way people act and you think to yourself, like, what the fuck are they doing? But if you don't have the knowledge that, look, they're just a young soul in older people's bodies. They're just young souls, and they don't know what they're doing. Like, they really don't. They just have no capacity to understand what it is going on in the world. They just have no recollection, no ability. They are simply incapable. It's no fault of their own. That's just where they're at in their consciousness and on their timeline. How can you be angry at that? Anger has really disposed itself from myself over the past week and a half in a very peculiar way. And of course, I'm seeing these people trying to pretend like they don't notice me leveling up and they don't notice me making changes. And I've even had spiritual attacks where people are reaching out, trying to stop me from doing certain things. And it's not even fazing me, man. I feel as if the devil is giving it his best shot at me right now. And I'm just unfazed. I am unfazed, and I'm going full-fledged. I'm looking into the great light of this reality, and I'm seeing the world, and I'm seeing the reality for what it is and how what has happened. And I'm just so at peace. I'm so blessed, even though things are not perfect, of course. I feel like me, myself, I'm not saying I am perfect. I'm saying that I am oriented from a place of timelessness. And in that timelessness is a sense of perfection. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I'm saying that the place in which I am operating from is derived from the source of creation and God himself. And that is perfect. Like, that is the perfect will of God. And so that oneness with it is just completely within me right now. And I just feel so grateful to be alive. I feel so blessed to be alive. And I feel just so at ease with existence. I don't think I ever, I've felt this type of way before, but not for this long and consistently, to the point in which, yeah, life is going to be difficult sometimes, but I've oriented myself from a place and to a place where it doesn't need to be anymore. Like, I've let go of the fear. I've let go of the need to control. I've let go of the desire for lust. I've let go of the desire for women and for their attention. It's like, of course, it's nice every now and again. Sure, it's nice, but I don't need it. I don't need the validation. And I haven't needed it for quite some time, but this is on a whole new level. This is, I mean, this is literally with the timeline theory, it is reshaping my connection to reality. And it is reshaping my connection to everything and everyone. And I'm feeling so much more compassion for people, but not in the way that you might think. You know, it's almost like I'm just going to play the game because I know that at the end of the day, we're all just kind of kids playing the game. We don't need to take this so seriously. Like, this whole reality is like a sandbox. And instead of playing in the sandbox, we've decided to, like, go to war with each other. That's pretty much what it is. Like, instead of playing together, we've decided to go to war. And it's like, do we have to go to war? Like I feel like such a hippie right now, but at the same time, not at all. Because I'm thinking about John Lennon's song, like, all we are saying is give peace a chance. Like, that's how it feels right now, is just give peace a chance, man. Give peace a chance. Because it's really not, it's not about, like, it is, but it isn't. Like, this reality is just so cool. Like, and think about the body, right? The human body is so beautiful and so unique. And instead of focusing on how amazing this body that is an electromagnetic satellite is, we're focusing on, like, who's saying what in politics, and, like, who's doing this in the institutions, and that who's doing that in the media. And it's just, I guess I'm kind of like, I don't know. There's a great line in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. If anybody's, it's a big book, I know, but there's a great line somewhere in here, and it says, like I have flown like a falcon and I have cackled like a goose. And I've known what that's meant for quite a while, but it's also at a point now to where it takes on a whole new meaning again. You know, I have flown like a falcon and I have cackled like a goose. Because you just look at the reality for what it is, and you're just like, man, what a bunch of crazy kids doing a whole lot of crazy crap for nothing. And it's just, that's just where they are, you know, it's just what they're doing. And we can't really help it. And they can't really help themselves, a lot of them. You want to help, but again, it's like these people that are out in the community that just watch you. You know, and you want to go up to them and you just be like, something troubling you, bro? Like, we can talk about it if you want to. Something going on? Something happening? Or are you just going to keep staring like a fucking weirdo, bro? Like, this. Or the women, too. I swear, women have no game, bro. They have no game when it comes to trying to get your attention. And then they'll act like, women will reject you as an attractive man because they feel like you are, like, if they sense that you have options, it's almost as if they themselves don't know how to act around you. But as soon as they feel like they're around a simp or someone that they know that doesn't have a lot of true options, they are confident, and, you know, their ego's inflated. They're everywhere, you know. They're doing whatever they want. But as soon as they're around a guy that they actually like, they don't know how to communicate. And that's, you know, women do kind of get more stupid around guys they like. It's just the case. It's their biology. They kind of have to. And women, I've found, they will be like soldiers. And what I mean by that is that if you just tell them what to do, and you're not trying to come from a place of, you know, control, like, I need your control. You're just like, no, do that and do this. This is what needs to happen. Do that. They'll just do it. Like, if you have the kind of presence within you, they'll just follow your lead because they trust you, because you trust yourself. Women are the greatest mirrors, man. And people are going to act strange. Women are going to act strange around you. But you have to know that you're protected. Okay, you're protected, and it doesn't really matter what these people think about you. What matters is how you treat yourself and how that echoes through existence. So with all that being said, I hope that this message was useful and insightful for you. Stay blessed, and until next time.